taal is a canvas. It's got sum, it's got khali, and then it's got 4 clear parts. And then you have language. You have the language of tabla to explore the grammar in various different ways. If it's rupak, then you have 7, 3.5s. If you have jhaptal, which is 10, then you have 5 and 2.5s. So you have this challenge of restructuring the phrases and its grammar, and it gives you immense opportunity to be creative. So it's like painting a picture on various different sized canvases. My father used to mention to me that I very naturally took to tabla and just not really fiddled with it, but actually started playing quite accurately. And he was producer at the All India Radio in those days, and part of his job was to listen to all the broadcasts of Indian classical music which played in the evening and late evening. And whenever there was a vocalist singing, I would take the tabla and I would play Ek Taal Vilambit or Jhumra Vilambit or Tilwada Vilambit, because subconsciously I happened to hear these thekas when my father practiced with tabla players who visited home. At one request, Alla Rakha Khan Sahab said, sure, of course, you just bring him over at any time and I'll have a listen. And so, since he said that, my father invited him and Zakir Bhai home for dinner, as anybody would be. I was extremely nervous because he was a towering personality. So, you couldn't look him into his eye, so to say. And so I was wondering, what am I going to play? How is it going to be? And so we had dinner, and then my father asked me to play for him. So I played whatever I knew. And then Alla Rakha Khan Sahab recited a few phrases and he said, play after me. So I played those phrases. Then Zakir Bhai recited a few, then I played those too. Well, now it's going to be my first lesson. So I was looking forward to it. I was nervous as hell. And we landed up there that evening. And when we went there, the living room was clear of all the furniture, and there was dari, chadar, and there was a plate of gud and chana, and there were ganda type strings and all laid down. And so my father thought that we probably messed up the date or something, that we landed up on the wrong day when there's a function happening at home or something like that. And then as soon as we entered the house, Abbaji was sitting there and he said, "Arey, aa jao. And we sat there and welcomed us. And my father asked him, is there some function happening? So he said, yes, I'm performing the Ganda Bandhan ceremony for Yogesh. Ganda Bandhan normally happens when you've learned for a period of time and you see that the student is really capable of taking this tradition ahead and shows that promise and commitment and so on. Before I knew it, Sultan Khan Sahab was there and some musicians, Sitara Devi ji, Zakir Bhai himself, Fazal Bhai, Tawfiq Bhai, everyone was present. And then he did the namaz and covered his head and did the namaz and tied the ganda, and I didn't know what was happening. I started shivering. Then he took a piece of gud and chana and he put it into my mouth. That is when the shivering stopped. And then he asked me to feed him with gud and chana, which is symbolic, where he accepts me just like his son. And before I knew it, I was a Gandhaband disciple at the age of 9. He taught me the kaida dha tete dhada tete dhagati nagina dha dha tete tete dhada tete dhagati nagina, which was for me, I've never read books that are thicker than maybe half quarter an inch, and for me it was like going through a novel at that time, that entire kaida. I used to go to his house 4 to 5 times a week, I remember, and once I went there, in the morning I would come back only in the evening. It was like having a shibir 4 to 5 days a week with Abbaji. If I had exams and I didn't go for about 3 days, then Ammaji would call and she would give the phone to Alla Rakha Khan Sahab, and Alla Rakha Khan Sahab would say, "Arey, why isn't bachcha kyun nahi aa raha hai ghar pe? Why is he not coming?" And my mother would say that, unfortunately his exams have come. So he would say, "Arey, exam he can give at any time in life. There are many exams to give. I can't teach him what I want to teach him today. I can't teach him that tomorrow." 15 years of my life, I didn't even know that I was going to become a professional tabla player. I was just doing it for the love of music and because I had surrendered myself to Ustad Alla Rakha Khan Sahab.